Peace to the 12, man. Y'all see the title, man. The Black Indians of New England. I'm going to say that one more time. The Black Indians of New England. Now, I actually did a video on this probably 2 years ago or 3 years ago at this point. I really don't remember. And it was about the Boston Tea Party, right? For those of you that know the story of back in the day when America was going against the British government, they threw tea out of the harbor, right? To make a statement. And what they did when they did that is they dressed up as Indians, but they also dressed up in blackface. Now, what the historians will tell you is that, oh, they did a poor job of dressing up as Indians because they put on blackface and yada yada. You know, they make up a lot of different excuses. But the reason they put on that blackface and dressed up as Indians is because you had so-called black people in those regions that were classified as Indians. And that's what this video is actually going to be about, me proving that. I'm going to go to several different literary sources proving that. And I'm going to briefly touch on the Boston Tea Party again for this video. So, I'm going to start this with a scripture and then we're going to kick it right off. Let's go to 1 Thessalonians 5:21. Prove all things and hold fast to that which is good. And that's exactly what we need to do. We need to prove all things. I can't stand, this is a little small rant, but I can't stand when you have these people, these guys who do these videos and they'll just be saying some stuff and they'll have like these little AI video images. They don't reply. They don't show any literary sources. They don't show what page number. They don't show anything. I hate those videos. So anyway, that's just a little rant. So let's get straight to it. Let's prove it. All right, let's go to the Tea Party thing I was talking about. So this is from history.com. It says, the Sons of Liberty, famous, masqueraded in Native American dress on the night of the Tea Party raid, complete with tomahawks and faces darkened with coal soot, right? Faces darkened with coal soot. But were they really trying to pass themselves off as local Mohawk or Narragansett tribesmen, question mark? Not likely, says Carp. For starters, it was customary in the 18th century England for protesters to cross-dress in one way or another, blackening their faces and dressing as women. Yeah, of course, look at Esau. He wanted them to dress up. He wanted to identify something else, you know, like they do today. But, or even Catholic priests create an atmosphere of misrule. Yeah, that's baloney. That's BS, right? The reason why they dressed up in blackface is because you had black Indians in that region. And I'll prove that. So we're going to go to this anthropologist by the name of David McRitchie. Y'all know I've referenced this guy in multiple videos over the years. David McRitchie, he was an anthropologist. What is an anthropologist? Anthropology is the study of the origin and development of human societies and cultures. And the book that we're going to be going through is, of course, Ancient and Modern Britons by David McRitchie, right? And we're going to start off on page 357, right? It says, it is not so very long ago that the conventional gypsy was of almost black complexion. And I'm going to do a whole nother video on that. But yeah, you had so-called black gypsies, another group that I don't tell you about, that he is acknowledging right here in this page. Conventional gypsy was of almost black complexion. The followers of John the Fall in the old ballad are spoken of as the black crew and as black but very bony. The rhyme with which Scotch mothers used to all their children spoke of the black tinkler. You know, that shit sounds suspect. Black tinkler, what the hell? But in 1681, now check this out. And in 1681, this is in the 1600s, the Indians of New England or Moors, so he's comparing the Indians with the Moors, Indians of New England or Moors, as they were also styled by the settlers, were pronounced by William Penn to be as black as gypsies. So he compared the Indians that he saw to the black gypsies. And this is in New England, 1681. And he also compared the Indians of New England to the Moors, right? And I'm going to touch on the Moors in a minute. You already know I've done videos on them too, right? And, you know, I highlighted this part. He starts talking about the black gypsies. And there was a guy who was saying, oh, black just meant that they were dark or evil or whatever. And then the other guy's like, no, right? He goes on the stance of me, no, he means literally black, like this picture. But it says the gypsies of 1681 were distinctly blackamoors, right? So let's go to another thing that he said in Ancient and Modern Britons, Volume 1, if I didn't say the name of the book already, is page 46. He says, why am I going to this? because he said that Indians of New England, or Moors, as they were also styled by the settlers. So let's see what he has to say about Moors, because Moors has so many different meanings now in modern days. But back in the day, like I told you guys before, originally the word Moor meant black. All right, all these dudes try to say, "Oh, I meant this, I meant that." Listen, don't even come to me with that. I got the old Latin dictionaries. I know what it means. Actually, we're gonna go to that in a minute. But let's go to this Ancient Modern Britons, page 46, volume 1. He says, any Latin dictionary, any old one at least, will tell you that Moorish is a Moor, a blackamoor, or a tawny Moor. And Shakespeare used the word Moor as a synonym for a Negro, right? As the nearest English rendering of Moorish, signifying thereby any black or brown-skinned man, right? So these Indians of New England were called Moors, right? And the word Negro and Moor have been used synonymously historically. But I'm going to go to here. He says any Latin dictionary will tell you that, right? Well, is this true? Well, let's open up some old Latin dictionaries. Let's start off with a dictionary. Well, this is an English dictionary, but this is the only English one I have. Then we're going to go from Latin to English. So this is a dictionary of the English language book by Samuel Johnson, right? 1755. Look at this. Moor. Samuel Johnson Dictionary, 1773. Moor. Right here, you got Moor, Marsh. You go down to here. It says Moor. Morris. Latin. A Negro. A blackamoor. So Moor was a Negro and a blackamoor. That's what it says in his dictionary. Let's go to another one. Let's go to John Wilkes. Born 1725 in London. See what he has to say. He was a parliament member of the United Kingdom. See what he has to say in his Encyclopedia Londinus, or Universal Dictionary of Arts, Sciences, and Literature. See what he has to say on page 754. It says, Moor, Morris, black, a Negro, a blackamoor. Right? A Negro, a blackamoor. So when this guy says, in 1681, the Indians of New England were also called Moors, I mean, that's what it's talking about, man. But let's continue on, right? Let's get some more on that, too. Let's go to page, I don't know what page this was, but right here, he says, the Negroes or blacks held an early correspondence with the ancient Mauritanians, Numidians, and Carthaginians, right? Correspondence means they resembled each other, right? I got to do more videos on ancient North Africa, but, you know, in due time. I already did a video on the Berbers that wasn't that long ago. Y'all can check it out. But let's continue on. Let's go to the National Web Archive of the United Kingdom government. Let's go to Black Presence, Asian Black History in Britain, 1500 to 1850. We're going to go to the word Moor in the National Archives. Once again, it says Moor. Originally, this term was applied to Muslims who conquered parts of Spain in the 8th century and settled there until they were driven out the 15th century. That's not initially. I mean, that is partially true, right? Because they were Muslims in Spain. But the word Moor comes from the word Moris that comes back from the Latin, all right? Which means dark and or black. But anyway, he says, in Britain, it was often used to refer to any black person. What, Moor? In Britain, it was often used to refer to any black person, particularly Muslims. The word Moor appears in Shakespearean literature, right? Moor, Moorish, Morris, Moorian, and often combined with black and black, as in black Moor, blackamoor, and blackmoor. Blackmoor was also used as a synonym for Negro in the 15th, 16th, and 17th centuries, right? Right here, this is John Entick's A New English Latin Dictionary, carefully compiled from the most celebrated English writers, rendered in classical Latin by John Entick. Look at this, M. Moor, right? Moor Ethiops, right? Moor Ethiops, which simply means Ethiopian. Ethiops, the term Ethiops, Ethiopia are archaic words for burnt face. It may refer to Ethiopia in ancient terms for parts of Africa. Yeah, in other words, he says Moor equals Ethiopian. Matter of fact, I believe in Zephaniah 2 and 12, you go to old Bible dictionaries, the word Ethiopian, because it says ye Ethiopians shall be slain by the sword, the word Ethiopian is replaced in those old English Bibles with the word Moorian. The word Moorian is just a plural form of the word Moor. I've done videos on that. You guys can look this up. You can look that up in the Great Bible of 1535 or something like that. You can also look. You can look it up. All right, just go do it. Do your due diligence. Brother can put in the comments what the Bible was. I can't remember. It's the Great Bible of 15 something. It's also in other Bibles. It's in the I can't remember what it is, man. But just go look it up. Anyway, the Imperial Dictionary of the English Language by John Ogilvy, 1797, right? Imperial Dictionary of the English Language, Volume 3, Moor, right? Morris, a Moor, black or dark colored. Like I said, that's what it originally meant, black or dark colored. A native of northern coast of Africa, called by the Romans Mauritania, the country of dark complexioned people. Right, so let's go back down to here. Let's go back to Ancient Modern Britons, Volume 1. And we're going to continue on. We're going to keep the ball rolling. We're going to go to page 374 and 375. It says, the Englishman who had colonized the western shores of the Atlantic, not more than a generation or two before Gross spoke of the Indians there as being as black as gypsies. In 1676, the native races of New England were spoken of indifferently as Indians and Moors. So they were spoken of indifferently as Indians and Moors. I already showed you what Moor meant, right? Especially in that time period in the Old Latin dictionaries, which would be in this time period. I showed you dictionaries from the 1700s, right? This was in 1681 and beyond. So that's the term they would have been using. Therefore, Gross is virtually telling us that large companies of Moors or black people roamed up and down the country, rather more than 100 years ago, taking very considerable contributions from the farming classes and others. Right? And these Moors at the quite recent period had not relinquished the custom that distinguished those black people against whom Caesar fought. Those 18th century Moors were also painted people. Right? So really, there ain't no way around it. He said Moors or black people. That's what he's talking about. Now I'm going to show you guys a picture. And I still have more books, by the way, that we're going to be going into. Or I think I have one more book in particular that's going to reference other books. Right? We're going to go to this picture right here, this portrait. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. It's like Resins Edita, blah, 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 right? It translates the New Belgium in North America, right? I translated all of it. But anyway, for those of you who don't notice, you can see this already. These people right here that are giving their riches to these so-called white people, as you can already see, look at them. They're dark, right? They have woolly hair. This dude has a headdress on. I'm gonna zoom in on the picture in a minute. And this painting, by the way, was from 1757. This is from 1757. This would be around the New England region too, by the way. I believe this was taken. I believe it was in New York, I want to say. But anyway, yeah. As you can see, look at these people, and this is a depiction of people in the Americas giving their riches to these guys. And and like I always tell you guys, or like I've told you guys in the past, you had two different tribes that lived in America. You had the so-called blacks that were already here, like the Yahawashi tribe and so on and so forth. And you also had what they call the so-called Red Indians. Both of them were actually here, right? They were both there. Some of them coexisted with each other. Some of them went to war with each other. That'll be another video for another day. But even in South America, the same thing happened. You can read about how conquistadors, they found some artwork of the Mexicans, and the Mexicans had artworks of black people with afros because they had been familiar with them prior to them even arriving. I did a video on that. That book was called Antiquities of Mexico, and I believe it was volume 7 or volume 6, one of those. But yeah. Anyway. So let's zoom in. As you can see, these are dark people, and they're being extorted by the so-called white man. I believe this is King George. So with all that being said, I wanted to read this as well. This is the Resins Edita, that blah blah blah, written in Latin. Augsburg, Tobias, 1760 circa. Copper engraved map, full hand coloring with integral uncolored view of New York. Yep, like I said, in good condition, right? So anyway, we're gonna go down to here. It says this is the 5th state with the Boston reading of map originally issued by Matthias Suter, 1678 to 1757 and 1730. but it is also a fine example of one of the much pirated Jansen-Vischer New England series of maps, first published by Vischer in 1651. The present Suter Lauder plate is the first map in the series to show the boundaries of Massachusetts, New England, New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. So this is in that region: New York, New Jersey, New England, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts. And once again, look at these people, man. Right? Which is funny because even to this very day, I remember Donald Trump went to court challenging one of these so-called Indian tribes in that region. And Donald Trump said, well, when I look at these people, they don't look like Indians to me. The reason he said that they didn't look like Indians to him is because the Indians he was going against, they were so-called black people. And he said that they didn't look like Indians to him. So that's still a thing to this very day. But anyway, John Brereton, 1571 through 1632. We're going to see what he has to say in his he was a adventurer, clergyman, chronicler, right? Born in 1571, died in 1632. 1602, he made a voyage to the New World. This is what we're going to go through, right? You can find this on the Michigan Library, this long-ass title. 1602, Captain Bartholomew Gosnold, all this, right? Let's see what it says. 1619, 1572. Let's get it. Let's go to page 4. This is what he says, right? He says, we came to anchor where 8 Indians, so he's talking about some Indians, where 8 Indians in Basque came boldly aboard us, one of them appareled with waistcoat and breeches of black serge made after sea fashion. And we'll go down to here. They were naked. Now check this out. These people are of a tall stature, broad, grim visage, of a black, swart complexion, their eyebrows painted white, their weapons and bows and arrows. So he said they had a black, swart complexion. Did you catch that? Right? Mind you, this is in the New England region. Let's go to page 6. He says, we saw many Indians, which are tall, big-boned men, all naked, they covered their privy parts with a black sewed skin. So he said they were naked, but they covered their private parts with a sewn skin. Right? Seems like this, right? Doesn't that kind of fit the description? But let's continue on. Let's go to George Parker Winship. He was a guy. Oh, hold on. Give me 1 second, actually. I skipped something. He says, these people are tall, stature, broad, and grim visage of a black swart complexion. Swart, according to 1755 dictionary, it says swart, black, darkly brown, tawny. Swarthy, darker complexion, black, dusky, tawny. The swarthy Africans complained, so he called the Africans swarthy as his example of it used in a sentence. Right? So I just missed that on accident. But anyway, let's go to George Parker Winship. Guy was born in 1871, and he's a guy, he basically got together all the writings of people from way back that were documenting what they saw, and they met Indians on their voyages, right? Particularly in the New England region, and also the Carolinas. And he was a librarian and an author, right? First thing we're going to touch on is Carolina. We're going to go to this book, Sailors' Narratives of Voyages Along the England Coast, 1524 through 1624, by George Parker Winship, the guy I just showed you. We're going to go to page 5. This is talking about the Carolina coast, right? It says, the complexion of these people is black, not much different from that of the Ethiopians. Their hair is black and thick and not very long. It is worn tied back upon the head in the form of a little tail. And I can tell you the guy that he's referencing to is, I don't know if it's in this page, but the guy who made this statement was a Italian explorer by the name of Giovanni da Verrazzano. And this is what he meant when he met the Carolina Indians. He said that they were black, not much different from the Ethiopians, meaning they looked like Ethiopians, right? Meaning what? They were so-called black people. Right, let's continue on. That was page 5. Let's go to page 9. Still talking about the Carolina coast. It says, this young man remarked these people were black like the others, that they had shining skins, middle stature, and sharper faces, and very delicate bodies and limbs, and that they were inferior in strength but quick in their minds. This is all that he observed of them. So he said that these people were black like the others. He's still talking about the Carolina coast. And particularly in the Carolina region, you have a so-called black Indian tribe, which is documented by the name of the Yamassi, also known as the Jamassi. Sometimes it's spelled Jamassi. Sometimes it's spelled Yamasse. Right? Same tribe, though. And that was in the Carolina region. Now we're going to go to Cape Cod. Cape Cod is a peninsula in Massachusetts. Right? Cape Cod is a peninsula in Massachusetts. Let's go to page 35 of the same book, Sailors' Narratives of Voyages Along the New England Coast. And he says, these people are of tall stature, broad and grim visages, of a black, swart complexion, their eyebrows painted white, their weapons and bows and arrows. Is seen by some words and signs they made that some Basque have fished and traded in this place below the latitude of 43 degrees. Right? And so that was in Cape Cod, Peninsula, Massachusetts. Now we're going to go to St. George River. St. George River is a river that is in Maine, right? Up north in the United States. We're going to go to page 121. And it states, they were very well favored in proportion of countenance, though colored black, right? Low of stature and fat, bareheaded, as the men wearing their hair long. They had 2 little male children of a year and a half old, as we judged. Very fat and good countenances, with which they loved tenderly, all naked except their legs, which were covered with thin leather buskins, fastened with stropes to a girdle about their waist, which they gird very straight. They had little round pieces of red copper. They had chains, bracelets. Oh, never mind. I gave chains and bracelets, glasses, and other trifles. Then they accepted them and thought it was a great act of kindness. Right? So that's that. Now I'm going to show you guys a couple pictures. And I'm going to get a DNA study. And then that'll pretty much wrap up the video, I'm pretty sure. I know I ain't got too much left. So let's go to this picture. Right? This is a picture. It is known as an emblem of America. Right? A print of the American peoples in London. Date is 1798. Look at this dark complexioned Indian right here. As you can see, this person is darker than me. Right? Now look at this. This is Allegory of America and Liberty. This is an allegorical portrait of America, set within an oval surrounded a figure of liberty as a woman in flowered dress holding American flag with an eagle emblem. 2 Native Americans. What it say? 2 Native Americans in traditional dress and portraits of Columbus Americanus, by Sir W. Raleigh, Dr. Franklin, General Washington, and Thomas Jefferson. So it said 2 Native Americans. Let me highlight that. Let me highlight that. 2 Native Americans. Right? It's funny too because I remember I went to Arkansas one time. I was with one of my homies, one of my Native American homies that I grew up with, and I went to go see his aunt, right? And she looked at me and she said, she looked at me. She said, my grandfather. No, it was her father. She said, my father is darker than you. I never met him or whatever, but she said that, and I just kind of brushed it off. This was years ago. I don't even know if I was in the truth yet, and if I was lukewarm at the time. But I just thought that was interesting. But anyway, once again, it says this depicts 2 Native Americans. As you can see, if you, if you got 2 eyes, they are super dark. All right, super dark, super black, right? And then this is a nature study, right? This is from a nature study, a genetic evidence for 2 founding populations of the Americas, right? 2 populations of the Americas. Check it out. It says, genetic studies have consistently indicated a single common origin of Native American groups from Central and South America. However, some morphological studies have suggested a more complex picture, whereby the Northeast Asian affinities of present-day Native Americans contrast with a distinctive morphology seen in some of the earliest American skeletons. So there's some early American skeletons which share traits with present day Australasians, indigenous groups in Australia, Melanesia, and islands Southeast Asia. Here we analyze a genome. Wide data show that some Amazonian Native Americans descended partly from a Native American founding population that carried ancestry more closely related to indigenous Australians, New Guineans, and Andaman Islanders than to any present-day Eurasians or Native Americans. So they found DNA of some really old skeletons of people that had DNA similar to New Guineans, Australasians, and Andaman Islanders. These are what they look like. These are indigenous Australians. These are people of New Guinea, and these are the people of the Andaman Islands. So this is the DNA they're talking about of the skeletons, right? And we're going to take a look at the Wampanoag tribe, which was a tribe in Boston, an Indian tribe. You had the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe, also known as the people of the first light. This is a picture in Britannica of the Wampanoag tribe. As you can see, this dude is darker than me again, right? You have two sisters who they say they're of the Wampanoag tribe. Look at them, right? They the same color as this guy, right? You have the Black Indians of Wampanoag and African heritage, right? This is some YouTube video that I haven't even seen, but I just clicked and put in the video. But anyway, yeah, man, that's the video. That's the video, man. That's the Black Indians of New England. Hopefully you guys learned something. Once again, man, a lot of stuff you get taught in history is pure narrative. That's why you got to look it up, do the legwork, research, and share what you learn. Don't just hold it. Share it to people because other people don't know this either, right? So anyways, man, with that, I say once again, peace to the 12. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, the Most High, Yahawah, the name of His only begotten Son, yahawashi. Yahawah is the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world commonly calls God. And yahawashi is the Savior of the nation of Israel, who the world commonly calls Jesus Christ. I want to say shalom, which means peace, to you people that are listening and learning, to you brothers that's doing this work, truth and sincerity, and to you elders that's been out there doing this before me, man. I'm gone. Peace.